Hello students, welcome to EPG Padasala. Myself Innanala Periyar, working as Assistant Professor, Department of Criminology and Criminal Justice, Mananmaniyam Sundaranaar University, Tirunelveli, Tamil Nadu. Crime Prevention Techniques, Urban versus Rural. This module is focused on to understand the nature of crime prevention techniques, to contemporary strategies in rural and urban, the uses of natural resources in crime prevention. First of all, defining the urban and rural is considerable attention has been paid to unpacking crime and policing concerns within the urban settings. Framed in this way, rural crime has been held up as the antithesis to urban crime. This reflects how the perceived idealized rural concept has unintentionally propagated a model where solution to urban crime problems can be rendered in ways that make them supposedly equally applicable to rural environments. However, the lack of research, focus and clarity on rurality within criminology and policing means that the validity and reliability of such an approach is vague at best. Moreover, a growing movement of research into rural life and communities suggests that the idealized picture of such setting that tends to predominate frequently neglects and glosses over very real social problems and concerns. In an attempt to conceptualize and define rural, Donner Meyer suggests that rural communities and areas tend to possess several common features: a smaller and less dense population, a greater familiarity and more developed social circle and community. This is supported by Websdale, who states that rural communities are more likely to know each other's business, come into regular contact with each other, and share a longer core of values than is true of people in urban areas. Thirdly, rural communities are much less autonomous than before. This point emphasizes how social change and its development have removed some of the original and unique features of rural culture and have closed the gap between rural and urban settings. These defining characteristics of rural communities and environments are attributed as a causal relationship in terms of explaining why crime rates are historically lower than in urban areas. The long held assumption of rural homogeneity has contributed to the lack of research and emphasis in this area. As Donner Meyer explains, it has been presumed that heterogeneity is a trait instinct to the urban milieu and that homogeneity is a trait characteristics of people and groups within specific rural communities, and that all or almost all rural communities were similar. However, recent research has started to challenge and contest these easy and formalized descriptions. In particular, whilst most research concludes that crime is less frequent in rural areas and that greater informal social control in rural areas protect against high crime rates, rural crime is reported to be on the rise in the UK. For example, the cost of livestock thefts rising 25%, theft of squad bikes rise 14%. There has been some concern exists that urban and rural crimes rates are converging, but evidence relating to such claims are varied. Some commentators have argued that with modern communication and transportation, the perceived rural or urban differences are shrinking through what has been termed massification. Crime protection in urban area, the demographic outline of the urban area point out a higher quantity of younger age groups, that is 0 to 18 years, and a lower amount of older age groups, that is 60 and above years, than the birth metropolitan average. Its populace is normally well educated and receives higher than normal incomes. Of particular note, over 39.5% of the city's population were born outside of Chennai, and that the number of 14.5 were born in the concerned city. Over 4,000 people in the city required assistance for recognized disabilities, and 17% of the city's total population engages in volunteering to contribute back to the community. In addition to demographic data, the city is also experiencing significant growth within its city center. Due to expanding health and education campuses and retail, commercial, office and residential development, with this development come new challenges for the city in ensuring that emerging community safety needs are identified and addressed. These defining characteristics of rural communities and environments are attributed as a causal relationship in terms of explaining why crime rates are historically lower than in urban areas. Why crime rates are historically lower than in urban areas, the long-held assumption of rural homogeneity has contributed to the lack of research and emphasis in this area. As Donner-Meyer explains, it has been presumed that heterogeneity is the trait intrinsic to the urban milieu, and that homogeneity is a trait characteristic of people and group within specific rural communities, and that almost all rural communities were similar. However, recent research has started to challenge and contest these easy and formulaic descriptions. In particular, whilst most research concludes that crime is less frequent in rural areas and that greater informal social control in rural areas protect against high crime rates, rural crime is reported to be on the rise in UK. For example, the cost of livestock theft rising 25%, theft of squad bikes rising 14%. There has been some concern expressed that urban and rural crime rates are converging, but evidence relating to such crimes are varied. Some commentators have argued that with modern communication and transportation, the perceived rural-urban differences are shrinking through what has been termed massifications. Rural crime versus urban crime is an overview of the research literature. Weisschrift, Falcone and Wells indicated that current research concludes that crime is less frequent in rural areas. It has been speculated that greater informal controls in rural areas protect against high crime rates. The belief that crime is less frequent in rural areas is supported by recent Uniform Crime Reports, that is UCR, data that present crime by type and population group. UCR index crimes for 1990 revealed several interesting patterns. Index offense rates, including homicide, are higher for urban areas than for rural areas. The gap between rural and urban crime is greater for violent crime than for property crimes. The rank order of the offences for property crimes is roughly similar for urban and rural areas. That is, larceny is the most common crime and motor vehicle theft is the least common crime in both areas. The greatest difference between rural and urban crime is robbery, which occurs almost 54 times more often per 1 lakh citizens in urban areas. The rank order of violent crimes is thrown off by the large rural-urban difference in robbery. The urban rate is much higher for crimes with the most similar rates across areas, such as rape. Substantial rural-urban differences are also found from National Household Victimization Survey, surveys such as the National Crime Survey, that is NCS. The 1990 NCS reported that the percentage of households indicating any form of victimization in urban, suburban and rural areas was 30%, 23% and 17% respectively. A researcher found that approximately 25% of victimizations of rural residents occurred away from their communities, while this was true for only 10% of urban residents. 10% of urban residents. It was calculated that rural residents were more vulnerable to robbery when visiting urban areas. This means that the compressions of victimization rates probably understate the difference in victimization between the two areas. Instead of comparing rural and urban areas, some studies have considered rural areas. Some studies have considered rural areas alone. In addition, a number of researchers have concluded that rural areas experiencing rapid growth will also experience a disproportionately large increase in crime. In 21 of 23 studies, crime grew even faster than the population in rural communities with rapid population growth. Researchers speculated that the accumulated findings may best be explained by narrowly focusing on changes in communities' social structure that accompany rapid growth and result in impairment of informal social controls, particularly the declines in a community density of acquaintanceship. The literature review will focus on rural crime issues and compare the differences and similarities as they relate to urban crimes. Thus, a good understanding of rural crime requires not only an appreciating how it differs from urban crime, but also how rural crime and rural justice vary across rural communities. Many rural women experience domestic violence, yet few seek services. A key to ensuring rural women's empowerment and eradicating poverty is to address inequitable gender power relations and persistent norms and beliefs that maintain gender based violence, that is called GPV, and harmful traditional practices. Example, female genital mutilation, that is called FGM, early marriage, wife inheritance. According to the multi-country study conducted by WHO, that is the World Health Organization, rural women reported more experiences of physical abuse than urban women. However, the data from the study show no clear pattern as to whether more rural or urban women are accessing services to assist them in dealing with the abuse. In general, women may doubt that services will offer the help they require. They may also fear for their children's or their own safety if they report abuse. Police counseling and legal services may be more difficult for women to access in rural than urban areas due, for instance, to a lack of transport and distance to services. Ensure environmental sustainability, rural women and natural resources. Environmental degradation has a great impact on natural resources which rural women rely on for their livelihoods. For example, evidence suggests that women with fewer occupational options and less mobility rely on forest more than men do. Reduced quality and availability of land, game, forest and genetic and aquatic resources increase rural women's time burden, reduce their capacities to cope with shocks and climate change, affect where they live and provoke conflicts, which in turn undermine rural health, education and livelihood. Furthermore, there is some evidence of casual linkages between gender inequality and environmental degradation. For example, gender inequality and deforestation were casually related in more than 100 countries between 1990 and 2010. Women policy and environmental sustainability. Women Women policy and environmental sustainability research suggests that women express more concern for the environment, support policies that are more beneficial to the environment, and tend to vote for leaders who care about the environment. Evidence from 25 developed and 65 developing countries indicates that countries with higher female parliamentary representation are more likely to set aside protected land areas. A study of 130 countries shows that women are also more likely to ratify international environmental treaties. Women's presence matters, but the nature of their participation is also important. While women's involvement has been associated with the better local environmental management, their mere presence in institutions is not enough to overcome deep-rooted disparities. Institutional change and flexibility are needed to ensure that women can participate effectively in decisions making. A recently published study of community forestry institutions in India and Nepal found that women's proportional strength in forest management committees has an impact on the effectiveness of their participation. The more women on the management committee, the greater the likelihood that they will attend committee meetings, speak up and become office holders. Gaps in access to improved sources of water between urban and rural areas remain significant. In urban areas, level of access to improved water and sanitation are generally high and above the MDG target. In contrast, poor rural populations still face greater challenges accessing clean drinking water. Coverage in rural areas across all regions lags behind urban areas. In 2008, an estimated 141 million people living in urban areas and 743 million people living in rural areas relied on improved sources for drinking water. An urban dweller in sub-Saharan Africa is 1.8 times more likely to use an improved drinking water source than a person living in a rural area. After submitting your proposal, follow up with the finding organization shortly after sending your proposal. Confirm that it was received and offer to answer any questions or arrange a meeting to discuss the proposal. Remember that organizations receives as many as 10 times the number of applicants they are able to fund. If your applicants is not approved, contact the organization to find out why and how you can increase your chances in the future. Acknowledge organizations that have provided funding and maintain communications. Let them know about key developments and be sure to forward any information they require, such as a final report for a summary of how the funds were spent. Keeping the momentum, preventing crime is not easy, and it is important that sustain your prevention activities, because it may be difficult to keep people concerned and involved in addressing community problems. Some means must be found to reward volunteers. This can be done in a variety of ways. Effective training can help retain volunteers by educating them about the program goals and by giving them the expertise to make their work more productive and enjoyable. Their work more productive and enjoyable. They should be given tasks that are meaningful and require a realistic level of commitment. Well-planned programs will retain their volunteers, since their efforts will be directed to achieving clearly defined goals and the progress will be more visible. It is also very important to show your appreciation for all the hard work completed by your working group. Consider sending the thank you notes or using awards certificates, acknowledgements, and even prize to show everyone that their work is appreciated. You may consider nominating a volunteer, a local youth, or a corporate partner for one of the Ministry of Public Safety and Solicitor General's Crime Prevention and Community Safety Awards. These awards are issued every September. Nominations are called late in spring and offer a variety of nominations categories. Contact Community Programs Divisions for more information. Their telephone number and other contact information is listed on this inside of the module. Thank you for watching ePG Padasala.